3, 2, 1.
Hey! All right, so we have two of the stars, Sherri and Nick, from Trial and Error on NBC, and we are so excited to find out what is going to happen tomorrow because it's the season finale.
Yes.
Oh man, we're
Who
stoked.
killed Larry Henderson's wife?
Yeah. Was it Larry Henderson? What's great about it is you're going to get to find everything out. You're going to get to find out, is he guilty or innocent? Right. Which doesn't necessarily mean did he or did he not do it.
Right.
So there's a lot, but all of that stuff gets tied up by the end. There's 2 episodes back to back, 2 half-hour episodes. So it's 1 full hour block, and it's the last hour of the show. And we're really proud of it. Our writers are amazing, and they were really clear about wanting the show to have a satisfying ending, whether it was sad or you know, people are confused, you know, about how things came about, in the sense that, like, or if they didn't predict it to happen in this particular way, that it would be satisfying. And I think that we achieved that.
And one of the things that I found was interesting is that you guys followed the whole mockumentary kind of style, kind of like The Office, which is why you get those comparisons. Why did you guys think it was important to include an aspect of filming everything that you're doing?
Oh man, you know, I think that because it is a mockumentary, we had Jeff Blitz, who won an Emmy for directing The Office, and also his documentary. You were in his documentary.
Well, he was nominated. He was nominated
for an
Oscar.
Oscar.
I don't think he won for that.
For his documentary. I mean, that was his style of shooting. It was so wonderful to be able to shoot that way, as opposed to doing it in a sitcom format, doing that documentary style. I loved that way that we were shooting it.
Yeah, I think it really lends itself to the idea that, you know, whether or not this is completely available to the audience, it's certainly subtly aware, but, you know, this, as you're watching the show actually happened a year ago. You are watching the documentary of it. And I think the way that it helps the show is that it allows us a way into how would we have this sort of access to these people, and without it being kind of set pieces, presentational, in a distance. You know, what it allows us to do is, because it's a documentary, where we get into the strange inner workings of Larry's mind. We get into the strange inner workings of our interpersonal relationships in the office. Yeah. And so I think that documentary, it's a difficult format. It's not a lot of people do it. You've had these big Office and Parks and Rec victories with that sort of format, but not all of them do it incredibly well. And I think that, you know, we are very lucky that she mentioned someone like Jeff Blitz and these writers who really understood the format and used it the right way. I think it's been it makes the piece unique, and it brings something special out, I think.
And you mentioned that you guys have a lot of fun on set with the style. Is there any improv that goes into it, or is it solely follow the script?
You know, this is another one of those things where, like, so there's one answer is just yes, there is improv, but I always want to lead with the script is always the king. The script is so good. The scripts we would get are so sharp.
It's so well written, the script. The improv is the added stuff on top. And Jeff Blitz, again, he's really good at saying, you know, we'll do it the way that it's written, and he's really good at coming and writing something on the script and going, you know, try it that way, or do this. And then we get to go. But, you know, we'll do 15, 16 takes, 20 takes, and we get to add that on top. But it's so wonderful to have a script that's, if you didn't do any improv at all, it'd still be perfection.
Yeah. And the only thing I would add to that is that, you know, a lot of times the improv comes out of the sort of happy accident of just shooting a scene. You know, in our show, it wouldn't work like Larry David does improv, which is built to do improv. You know, ours has to really stay on rails because it's a half-hour show that has to work as an actual whodunit mystery, and those have to be really sculpted to keep the storyline feeling interesting and dramatic for people. So there's not a whole lot of time for us to have like a really funny 45-second moment that doesn't get the story told, you know. So a lot of our improv moments, when I look at them and I remember shooting, you know, Sherri has a moment that wasn't necessarily in the script. It comes out of a funny reaction that happened between us that just happened to serve in that exact moment.
Right.
And but that's the kind of stuff that comes out of doing 15 to 20 takes.
Were you guys surprised by the ending? Were you satisfied with the ending?
we were satisfied.
Yeah, we were really happy.
Surprised.
Yeah. It was, and it's just very touching. There's closure on all ends, and it's a little poignant, and yeah, it's emotional.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was great. I mean, we don't want to allude to too much, obviously, right? Because if you've been following the show, or if you haven't followed the show and would like to start watching,
you should start watching.
NBC.com, Hulu. But no, it's a quick run, right? It's an easy bingeable show because it's only 6.5 total hours of television. Mm-hmm. But the ending is it's the cherry, right? Like you want to, if you're into this show, there's a great payoff waiting for you. So we don't want to allude to anything, and you shouldn't try to keep yourself off of social media and stuff before you get there, because we think the moment is special, and I think it'll be really satisfying, fun ending, and we certainly think it was that way for us.
You briefly mentioned earlier in another interview that John was actually the only one who knew how this whole thing was going to play out.
Right.
Why was he the only cool one that was, I guess, cool enough
well,
to
John
find
is
out?
the coolest. I mean, let's just say that.
Let's go.
But the main thing is that he's the centerpiece. Mm-hmm. He needs to know whether or not he really did it as a character. So John is talented enough to just walk back and forth throughout the entire series, indicating at times that he's violent and at times that he's too aloof to have taken this sort of approach to this situation. But as an actor, he wanted to know, and I think it makes perfect sense that he would want to know this, because Larry knows ultimately, and so he should know whether or not he did it. And so then John has been able to, he based his entire performance from that foundation, which I think it makes perfect sense, and also he was really great about keeping that secret.